Hello, hello, hello! We are playing Chuusotsu for graduation time after time. I'm Lynx and it's the next day, in the afternoon. Let's find out what's going to happen here.
というわけで、これからよろしくお願いします、ココロちゃん。
So we get to meet Kokoro. Again.
よろしくですよ。
I wonder if she remembers. I don't know, I have a feeling she might. This being her third time, Arue was no longer nervous. She greeted Kokoro normally and handed over the usual can of cookies with the cat-eared vampire on the wrapping.
ところで、ココロはお留守番中なのかな？
You know they are.
お留守番じゃないですよ。完全にお父さんもお母さんもいないですよ。
They asked her about her family as planned and offered to help out. Everything was carried out just as they had discussed it. Or so they thought.
お手伝いはいらないですよ。
あ
れ？どうしてですか？だって一人じゃ大変でしょ？完全に一人で十分ですよ。
And there we go.
なんか
I think she
い
remembers.
つもと違うね。無駄なやりとりをはしょってスムーズに話を進めたつもりだったんですけどね。その流
Yeah.
れ作業感が逆に怪しさをアップさせちゃったのかも。
Also, technically, previously, you didn't, like, author of the bat. You got to know her a little bit.
何にせよ手伝いせずに済むのだからめでたしめでたし。
Yeah. Medetashi,
あ
medetashi.
なたどれだけお手伝いが嫌だったんですか？
A lot.
まあそれはともかくと
A
して
lot.
今日の予定は昨日と同じ？
私はそのつもりですよ。再検査に向けて勉強するつもりです。
Good luck.
私は特にないかな。
Same.
では
Get some recordings.
久々
Or
に
something.
アミューズメントセンターに行きましょう。
いやいや、予定聞いたのは何だったんですか？
アミューズメントセンターで学ぶことは非常に多い。
そりゃ、
Like?
ホビー方面ではいろいろあるでしょうけど。
Uh-huh. Then she suddenly remembered. Ishido Oroshi. He was given one hell of a bashing on that message board and vanished from Twin Terra as well. Arue wondered how this person about as powerless as her was doing right about now. Would he retain his passion for his hobbies even in the middle of this criticism?
そうですね。行きましょう、アミューズメントセンター。
Amusement center. They decided to go to the amusement center. On the streets, Arue got a phone call. She had a feeling she knew who it was.
やっぱりお兄ちゃん。
Then answered this. A call from her brother, Illis. Whenever this happened, she'd never answer the phone or even call him back. Or answer it. But this time, she had something she wanted to say. The fact that she had started studying for her re-evaluation. Arue felt like she had a rough road ahead of her, but won't tell him that she would do her best. She wanted to declare that to him. However, she waited for too long. In the end, she still didn't answer.
同胞今の着信は？
知らない番号だったので。
Why would you lie about that?
育児なしはいつになったら治るんだろう。
Why would you lie about that? At the amusement center. As soon as they entered, Arue turned her head and looked around.
あれ？いない。誰か探してるの？前にララちゃんの首都調査でここに来た時、農場部のゲーマーさんがいたと思うんですけど。
Ladies, are you possibly looking for the rumored Orochi? A godly-looking middle school girl popped up next to them.
こいつの顔どこかで見たような。
Video? If you're looking for him, he wasn't showing up here for a while, I hear.
そうなんですか？あの人人生丸ごとゲームにベットしてる感じだったけど。
If you don't know what happened, I'll tell you. Here, have this newspaper I made. They were handed an extra. For the most part, it had the same info as the message board.
インターネットでいじめられたの？
Oh, it doesn't feel like quite bullying. After all, this guy seems like his human life is already over.
そうなの？経歴の部分読むと単にゲームが好きな人って思えるけど。
He likes games despite not having work. If he had a job, then you could call it a hobby, but...
シールがないとゲームを好きになっちゃいけないっていうこと？
That's... well, see, he was doing a lot of other stuff too, this guy. For example, he was ranked number 1 the score leader, but he was just cheating.
不正ってどんな？
Yeah, there is no proof of that, is it? Rumors say he supposedly tampered with the machine or took advantage of a bug to raise his score. He might have even had someone else to do it for him. I mean, he found the bug, so he used it. Why wouldn't he? Jesus Christ. Like, that's what speedrunning is about as well. If you find a bug, you use it. Gee.
それって証拠は一つでもあるんですか？
Yeah. No.
それじゃどうして不正やったってわかるんですか？
Nah. Well, that should be obvious. I mean, that guy was a Chuusotsu. There's no way a 30-year-old, 80-year-old jobless Chuusotsu could get this high score, a score that high. Ha, lol. I mean, wouldn't you say that there is no way a Chuusotsu would be able to come up with the idea of cheating, of how to cheat and so on? After all, his author's power is basically 5. He's basic trash, lol. You are a trash because of your personality, goddammit. That's how they laugh, basically. Wait, huh? She looked at their hands. Could it be that you ladies are also Chuusotsu?
中卒だよ。
Nah. She said with a straight face. Oh my, that must suck. No, it sucked to have someone like you around. Jesus Christ. She sounded a dry laugh. She looked like she wasn't sure how to handle them. How they say that? Just I see how well. Oh yeah, paper girl, like a keyboard warrior. She felt ashamed. Someone had seen the embarrassment she wanted to hide. Arue realized it right then.
中卒ってやっぱり恥ずかしいことなんだ。
No, it's not. Oh, that's right, I have a interview to catch. She ran off.
思い出したです。
Rara made a sudden exclamation. Oh, was she under her control?
あいつ以前アララがテイムした分野です。
Do it again.
けどあそこまで辛辣なやつだっけ。何はともあれ同胞のテンションを下げて逃亡とは許せない。捕まえて再び強化にしてくれる。
Yes! She tried to chase after her. But Arue grabbed her by the shoulder. Why? No!
ありがとうございます。でも私なら大丈夫です。
なるほど。
あれぐらいで落ち込んでたらこの先命がいくつあっても足りないですよ。
同胞がそこまで言うなら。
あらら、do it anyway later, please.
テイムした後、バカとのメイクで合コンに出席させてやろうと思ったが、今回だけは見逃してやる。
I mean, if they heard her laugh, it would already, like, destroy her. So, yeah, you've heard it.
そっちの方が絶命級の仕打ちじゃないですか。あるね。あらら。それより、またパンダさん取ろうよ。
No. Returning to the original plan, they played some more and called the pandas. By the time they went home, they had already forgotten about the paper girl. No, perhaps it was better to say that their efforts in trying to forget had paid off.
ちょっと買い物に付き合ってもらってもいいですか？もちろん。何を買うの？南越谷先生の作品集です。専用のケースとかついてる豪華版も出てるんですよ。それに南越谷先生原作のテレビアニメシリーズのブルーレイも欲しいです。プレイヤーもセットで。
Damn, that's a lot.
同胞は 足の先まで南越谷先生フリーク。それで
Freak.
そのラインナップはいかほど？
Too much.
だいたい8万マニーぐらいですかね。
その資金はソウルポインツから捻出すると。
はい、タイムリープするとポイントも元に戻りますからね。利用できるものは何でも利用しなくちゃ。
I mean, on the other hand, it's not like you will have that stuff later.
でも課題の挑戦にもポイントが必要なんだよ。
Yeah?
好きに使っちゃって平気かな。
Koiro. The voice of reason.
そこは1回分だけ残しといて最後の最後に決めればいいんですよ。
You've grown way too confident. What if you don't sync up? And just like that, in the middle of revealing her indecent reasoning, she was likely beginning to suspect that her feelings were slowly taking shape. Yeah, the kind of shade that would dictate what she would do in front of the soul dispenser on the last day. She would ask for a repeat again. She had to do it no matter what. By repeating this to herself as a child, Arue slowly formed her own personality. She had something she had to do. Even now, she would do anything to achieve that. What should she start with? Her philosophy challenge. Ugh. Then what should be her end goal? Re-evaluation, obtaining a seal. An easy life. She came to the conclusion, or so she thought. I mean... But it was constantly on the repeat for her. She really should like focus on something else. I don't know, Arue acts all kind of high and mighty in my opinion with the other girls. While... how do I say this? She seems to be the biggest problem in all of that, kind of. Like, I feel like she might be the reason they are stuck in the loop, basically, not the other two. Anywho, to put it plainly, Arue found herself unable to focus on the studying. Wow. She would review her kanji, then read manga. She would struggle with arithmetic, then read manga. Ugh. Woman, just freaking make your own manga from now on. Jesus. She would take a break by reading manga. The majority of her mind was dominated by manga. When she was doing that, she would be playing, then playing some more, happily, and without to worry. She felt satisfied. She was having the time of her life. After all, Arue never had any friends before. She did have an imaginary best friend, but now she had two real ones. They all lived under the same roof, sharing in laughs, sharing in surprises, and even in hardships. They weren't just people who shared a room. Arue now believed that this feeling with her was what room shares were meant to be all about. If anything, not feeling fulfilled would be odd. She went from 1 to 3. But from being mere background to being human. Arue had obtained her humanity through her relationship with the other two girls. No doubt about that. She felt herself to be an individual. Synchronization rating, 96%. Huh? They shared in the joy of that output number, allowing some leeway for the final attempt. But aren't you growing too confident on that? Clearing the assignment was within arm's reach. They did feel a smidget of anxiety, they absolutely did. Her behavior was the polar opposite of how she was supposed to tackle her re-evaluation. Every day was fun! Koro's kindness suited her. If one considered Arara's unique personality avant-garde, she ended up being pretty fun. And those two called Arue their friend. This kind of joy could never be obtained through Twinter. True. Every day was fun. Every single day. Yes. Yet that fact also sowed the seeds of doubt. Yes, if anything, you should like freaking find your actual goal instead of blindly going into the Oh, I need a seal.
私なんかがこんなに幸せでいいの？
Aru's lack of self-confidence run deep. If I'm feeling happy, that means that I've forgotten about the sins I committed against my family. Ugh. Those who bear sins must be ever stoic, and must always atone by sacrificing themselves. Huh? No! Aru was 15 years old. She would soon turn 16. She was that young of a girl. There was no way the burden of her heavy cross didn't pain her. But she didn't wish to be freed. So when Koiro openly told her how she felt, Aru couldn't help but interpret it as words that brought salvation. What do you mean? What did she say?
こんな風に対等な友達ができたらいいなってずっと思ってたんだ。こんな時間がずっと続けばいいな。
Yeah, but maybe not on a repeat, huh? Sin and happiness. Studying and manga. Finite and infinite. When she became unable to handle the paradoxes that existed within her, Aru stumbled upon that ever so common philosophical question. Where did people come from? And where are they going? Aru thought about it like this. People come from pain and head toward the pleasure. No. Why did you go to the rooftop again? Why did you go there again, woman? At the last day, in front of the soul dispenser.
それでは最初で最後のチャレンジを。ちょっと
ストップです、オロさん。
Aru exchanged a glance with Kori and Arara.
その前に、小色さんとララちゃん、一つ聞いてもいいですか？前回タイムリープした時、3人とも離れ離れになりたくないって思ったわけですけど、今はどうですか？あの時より何倍も気持ちが強くなってるよ。
But do you really need be stuck in a time loop for that?
右に同じ。シンクロのせいで気持ちが筒抜けな分、二人への信頼度が上がることはあっても、下がることはない。
Look at that being basically the failure right now for.
それに、初めての友達だから。よ
かった。
Whispering that single word, she turned back to the soul dispenser.
準備 OK ですか？
準備完了。
私たち、結局未だに何が素晴らしい人生なのか分かってません。だからきっとこの課題は失敗に終わるでしょう。分数の計算でつまずいてる子が、研究が絵日記になっちゃう子が、後先考えず突っ走っちゃうような子が、人生の真理を言葉にするなんてやっぱりできっこありませんよ。
True. Not in this world.
だって私たち中卒ですもん。
つまりお嬢様方はもうしばらく期限を延ばしてほしいと？それとも失敗は多めに見てほしいって言うすか？
Neither.
残念ながらそれは。
いいえ、そのどちらでもありません。
She stepped forward.
素晴らしい人生なんてどうでもいい。私はただこの生活を終わらせたくないだけだから。
So wouldn't you define what you have now a wonderful life? She turned around back to Koiro and Arara. They nodded and smiled at her. She was sure of it. Synchronization rating 100%! Really? へっへっへ。
お願い、ソウルディスペンサー、私たちの願いを叶えて。
That wish was Arue's. The same with Marisugawa Arue nurtured in her heart every single time she climbed up to the rooftop. The wish she kept yearning for.
人生、理性。
No! What is wrong with? Wait, you said life reset. You didn't say the last week reset, life reset. What if it would literally resets you to the very beginning and you will not remember because of that? That's not the correct option. Why would you want to reset again? How about just continuing it from that point you are on? Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, I can't. The sound of the rush hour crowds she had already gotten used to. A 15-year-old girl who had discarded the finite and obtained the infinite. People trading pain for pleasure was something akin to a law of nature. Therefore, there was perhaps not a single person in the world who could blame Marisugawa Arue, except for Lynx, I guess. But why? Why like that? She was just a 15-year-old girl. A 15-year-old who had just gotten her hands on a tiny morsel of happiness. Precisely as a result of their inexperience. People who gained infinity through extraordinary means, leaving behind the respect for phenomenology, served as the perfect prey for the beast known as philosophy. What? Arue. Or rather, Arue, also known as... Marisugawa Arue was still oblivious to that fact. But seriously, why would you want to repeat it over and over instead of just being able to continue on? Like, why? I don't get it. The origin of the sin born by Marisugawa Arue. It might have all boiled down to a single carelessly uttered phrase. After being discharged from the hospital, she spent her days recovering at home. In order to not break her lifestyle rhythm, she ate and slept well. She would wake up when everyone else did. She would then have breakfast and take her medicine. She would climb back into bed during work and school hours. Around the same time classes started up, Arue began her own studying session. Naturally, this would fall within the scope of what her body allowed. She would have lunch, then take more medicine. Her after-school routine remained pretty much the same, except for the fact she had to take her evening medicine. Everything was programmed out according to her doctor's advice. So then, a morning had come. 30 minutes had passed since she silenced her 7 AM alarm. She didn't go back to sleep. Instead, Arue was merely spacing out, wrapped up in blankets. They were using public housing, for they only had 2. Arue's family had given her a room of her own. The smell of baked fish wafted in her room. Although it tickled her nose, the scent didn't rouse her appetite. There was only one purpose in Arue's life. She had to pass the time. She would first see her mother off to work, then her brother to school. See them off. See off. After that, she was supposed to study. During her hospitalization, the comfort of her lifestyle combined with manga had put her behind on her schoolwork. It would happen, yeah. I can confirm as well. I was definitely not studying when I was on my leave from school, thanks to the fact that I had my appendix cut out. Yeah. And then I would try to speed through it all. Anywho. She was down for over half a year. This seriously jeopardized her plans of becoming a government worker, something that already had a low acceptance rate to begin with. If she really wanted to improve her chances at the compatibility exam, she would have to take action like her life depended on it. But after seeing the two of them off, the super ego influence, self-derision that half remained within Arue would start pestering her. One of the main reasons for this knocked at the door.
Ari, food is ready. I got a nice mackerel earlier today, so that's what we're having.
She called out from beyond the door.
Iranai.
Your appetite still hasn't returned, huh? We really should go see the doctor about it.
それもいらない。
Okay. I'm off to work then. I'll go and get some more side dishes for lunch. Don't push yourself too hard, okay?
She could hear her footsteps trailing off. There were no hallways. Her room was right next to the living room. Her mother and brother were having breakfast on the other side of the sliding screen door. The sound of clinking plates seemed to be rejecting her attitude. It amplified her self-hatred. Her body felt great, but she was losing her appetite. Marisko Arwe would later claim that the reason was this very sound. What? As the time for her brother to leave the house approached.
Anyway, I'll be heading off to school soon.
いってらっしゃい。
You've been kinda gloomy as of late. Sure you're not overdoing it?
Overdoing it.
無理なんかしてないよ。
Like underdoing.
I believe you. Look, it's okay to take a break if you feel like study's getting you tough, alright?
いいわけないじゃない。
Anyway, you still haven't regained your strength, so don't push yourself. You can expect to do the impossible.
The impossible. He told her again not to push herself. Yeah, because he believed that you were actually studying and so on. Impossible was such a convenient word. It could refer to anything and everything that wasn't possible. If she would overcome her illness, get out of bed and face the desk, then perhaps her brother's words would apply to her as well. But in Arue's case... She was rolled up in her sheets reading manga. There was a pile of books by her pillow. Around this time, all her classmates were at school. Meanwhile, her mother was working her hands to the bone for her recently acquired part-time job over at the supermarket's fish section. As for her brother, he was worrying about his little sister while getting spectacular grades at his prep school. During that time, she would lose herself in manga.
この作品古いけど面白いな。技法そのものが色褪せないからなのかな。それに対してこっちの作品はいまいち。なんていうか作者の人間関係の薄さがキャラクターの会話に現れてるような。
Aren't you trying to be all high and mighty? She even went as far as making criticisms that were over her head. She's been like this since being discharged from the hospital a month ago. What did Arue even want to do in the first place? She had asked herself over 100 times now. But the answer always remained the same. She wanted to save her family by becoming a government worker. Sounds like bullshit at this point. Then what was she doing now? Being sick could still work as an excuse. She didn't know that it was hospital bills, but that too was pretty much unavoidable. The problem was with what happened after that. This lukewarm lifestyle of pretending to be sick in her own room. A life where she could freely read her manga, even if she didn't own all that many volumes. Being a shut-in, truancy. At this point it didn't matter what anyone called it. To put it simply, she didn't want to let go. She didn't even want to consider it. Arue was actually quite delicate and sensitive. There was no way she wouldn't realize that this lifestyle was putting a burden on her family. And the result was this.
3年生の教科書になってからもう全然内容わかんないや。
Did you even try for?
こうなったら落ちるところまで落ちてみよっかな。
She decided to dive deeper into her heretical lifestyle. Partly to get rid of her mind, but also to seek further pleasures. Arue would later be crushed by a mass of guilt every time she thought back onto this, but... in that age and that moment, she simply decided to go with it. The rooftop. From the rooftop to her room. This metaphysical stairway directly connected the rooftop to her bedroom. A few months following her fall from grace around the start of November, graduation would be in the forefront of her classmates' minds, while their conversation would mainly concern the compatibility exam. What was Arue doing? She would wait until her family left before having breakfast. At this point, her mother was leaving her breakfast out in the living room without saying a word. Once no one was left in the house, Arue would bring it to her room and proceed to timidly munch away on it. The period between breakfast and when her family got home was when Arue's true work began.
昨日はここまで書いたから今日は
Her own manga. As her imaginary friend wasn't real, this was her very own solo work. She completely lost herself in it. Once she'd progressed far enough, she'd start filling in the rough sketches. She worked on her manga with no real intention of finishing it. Sounds like One Piece. She didn't even consider giving it any deeper meaning. But she could forget about the hardships of the real world while she was drawing. She could forget all about her sins too. So she simply continued doing it. If she remained a shut-in, she wouldn't be exposed to the rampant emptiness of the outside world. She never wanted to go back to school. She didn't want the violence known as apathy to break her heart. And so she continued to eagerly draw. As one would expect, Arue did no studying at all during this shut-in lifestyle of hers. As a natural result, her academic skills plummeted. Her anxiety toward the compatibility exam vanished without a trace. She didn't care what would happen later down the line. She had comfortably settled into this life. It felt far more comforting than the nausea she felt whenever she remembered how her classmates refused to even acknowledge her existence.
Ari, today's payday, so I'll go buy your favorite chocolate cake.
I just picked up this new manga spell. Wanna have a look?
I've been feeling pretty good lately. I might go find another job so I'm able to get you more things you like.
My friends gave me a game they didn't want anymore. You wanna try it with me? What a pleasant environment. She was released from this hollow suffering. Her condition had stabilized. She could read as much manga as she wanted, sleep whenever she felt sleepy, and her family only ever paid attention to her. It was like leaving hell behind and ascending straight to heaven. The single room of their public housing apartment was Marisugawa Arue's sanctuary. It had the perfect defenses. It was impenetrable. As such, it was inevitable that the pain she felt from lying would gradually disappear. Despite being spoiled by her family, dropping her studies and deciding not to care about the future, she still didn't feel a single thing. There was no way guilt could exist in a paradise like this. Around the middle of December, she would graduate in 3 months. She only had 3 months before her mandatory education seal would peel off. But Arue didn't budge an inch. Her seal, her family's finances, and her own sins. They no longer pained her!
シールのない人は自分の楽しいことばかりに夢中になるって聞くけど、今の私と何が違うのかな?
At the moment, the seal on her right hand was still active. Whenever doubts arose within her about something, she would spend a lot of time uselessly pondering over them.
そういえば、お母さんは無印なのに、私のことを優先してばっかりだったような。
Totally makes sense.
わかんない。考えるのめんどくさい。
Too much of a bother. This was the final stop in her chain of doubts and turmoil. And it applied to everyone. There wasn't a single thing in this world that didn't feel like a bother. Much like how water would trickle from high up to down below. People too would gravitate towards things that were less bothersome. In other words, they would take the easy route. This was also known as the pleasure principle. People who could fight against the principle were the ones who managed to lead their lives in accordance with their own plans. So what was Marisugawa Arue's life plan? Not necessarily true, that statement earlier, but... At first it was to become a government employee and help out with her family's finances so they could all live happily together. But now that she had obtained her sanctuary...
大変だし、教室で空気の自分に耐えられないし、最初からこうしてればよかったのかな。
And that marked the demise of Arue's life plans. Taken to the extreme, it could also be called the demise of her own very personality. Laziness. Fake illness. Being a shut-in. Getting endlessly spoiled by her family. This age itself was the source of the guilt borne by Marisugawa Arue. It might have all boiled down to a single carelessly uttered phrase.
あるおはよう。おはようございます。さっきまでお昼だったから、おはようの挨拶するのって変な感じですね。
After jumping through space and time, they met again at the Love Hotel District. She wouldn't actually dare not doubting for a second that she'd run into Koiro. She held even less fear for this unnatural phenomenon than she did last time. Rather, her positive outlook on it was becoming set in stone. Why? Because it wasn't something she was passively getting caught up in. Nor was it a 1 in 100 gamble. It was something she actively worked for. The synchronization of not just the will, but the heart itself. Once she was convinced she could accomplish this, there was no hesitation left in Arue.
私絶対に成功すると思ってました。タイムリープ。
Sure, don't be surprised if you want at some point.
というか失敗したら困っちゃいますよね。また3杯級の人生に逆戻りなんてまっぴらごめんですから。
What the hell is going on with her? She let out a dry laugh. They headed for the Fountain Plaza at the mall. It didn't take long for them to find Kokoro.
あれ？あの人って。
She wasn't alone. A middle-aged man with layers of fat on both his belly and face was talking to her.
小色さん、あのおじさん知ってるんですか？うん。確か、心が店長さんって言ってた人だよ。
They looked on from a distance. A man whose armpits were drenched with sweat next to a cute little girl befitting of her age. It was not a good match. They looked over at the large man. He had the build of an orc, and his hair seemed plastered down with grease of some kind of hair product. Ew. He gave the impression that it better to try not to breathe around him. Yeah.
お仕事の話してるんでしょうし、邪魔しちゃ悪いです。行きましょう、小色さん。うん。
I don't know about that. Following after Arue, Koiro turned to look at the two of them again. She didn't look at the man for. She took a glance at the glass beds tied around Kokoro's neck. Why is that? They left the room. Arara was relaxing on the sofa.
遅かったけど、一体何が？
大量にお菓子買い込んできたんですよ。これから1週間有意義に過ごすために。
But like, I wouldn't call it meaningful at this point.
アララの好きなバーベキュー味もあるよ。
それはありがたい。現在アララは研究に勤しんでいるがゆえ、チキンエキスパウダーなどのサイエンス分を体内に取り込み、これを科学力へと変換したい。何言ってんだかよくわかりませんけど、お菓子食べるなら遊びながらにしましょうよ。いや、だから遊びましょう。私も勉強は後でやりますから、オロさんが飛び出てきたら4人プレイでもいいですし。うん。じゃあちょびひげでいい？私それ大好きだよ。
And so they played, oblivious to the passing of time. They had tons of fun. They had already gone through the 3 time leaps. It was the 4th week of the room share. They had various experiences. So what left the biggest impression on Marisko Arue? None other than the fact that she actually made friends. And the ability to redo her life, even if it was just for a week. So it's just redoing a week. And to be fair, she's not redoing it at all. Yes, indeed. A sanctuary. A place that removed all outside pressures and provided her with an iron wall of complete protection. As long as she stayed behind it, she would remain invincible and free from invasions. As such, this place turned more and more into a sanctuary. Or did it? Or did it? Well, I guess we'll cut it for today, and we shall continue tomorrow. This weird approach to life. I still don't get why she would want to repeat all of that. I mean, they are already friends. Why not continue from there? Maybe you basically... I mean, given that you think 100%, I think you would basically pass the thing, and thanks to that, maybe you would be able to live on in that apartment and so on properly. I don't know. No clue. It's a hard topic to be fair. But yeah, I think Arue is not making the correct choices, basically. With that being said, I also don't make the correct choices in certain departments. With that being said, let's end it. As per usual, consider liking and subscribing and so on. Always appreciated. And, well, given that it's pretty close already, Merry Christmas, everyone. I'll probably be repeating this for the next few videos. Merry Christmas. Have a great one. Bye-bye.